So hey guys, today I am doing a really different video. It's not beauty based at all. It's actually my driving test experience, which you should know from the title. And so I have been learning to drive now since the 3rd of February and I did my test on the 1st of October. So I'm just going to go through kind of my actual test. I'm not going to go through my whole learning to drive experience. If you guys want to know what am I getting at? If you want a video on that, leave some comments down below. I'd probably do it more as a Q&A, so leave some questions down below if you're interested in that. But this is just going to be on my actual test, like going from the start of the test all the way through, everything that I kind of thought. I have planned a little bit, but not like too much of this. Will probably be more just what I remember. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of a cool idea to do, and I've seen a couple people do it, and I just thought it might be useful for anyone who's doing their test soon, or just like to watch these kind of experience videos, because these are actually some of my sort of favourite videos to watch, which is a bit weird. Like, I watch some really odd experience videos which I will never do in my life, like just peculiar things. But anyway, back to my driving test. So as I said, I took my driving test on the 1st of October. It's now the 12th, I think, so it's been nearly 2 weeks. And it was, at the time, was 12:38, but I had a driving lesson before then, so I think I left school at like 10 to 11 or something, because I went to school in the morning. I didn't have to. My sixth form do allow like time off. It's fine to have time off for your driving test, but no, I figured I'd go to school in the morning just so that I wasn't like too nervous, but because I thought that school would distract me and get me into like my normal routine, but I was still absolutely petrified. I can remember getting into Matt's car in the morning, because Matt did his test a week before me, and getting into his car and be like, I'm gonna fail my test, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I was like totally freaking out about it. And but yeah, so I got to school, did a couple of lessons, got in my driving instructor's car and drove, because basically I live in like the countryside, so everything's spread out, so I had to go to where my test centre was. I had to do like an hour or so driving around the town where my test centre was, because I didn't learn in the town that I live in. That was your test, you'd end up going down every road pretty much. Yeah, the UK driving test is on average about 38 minutes long, and you will get given a manoeuvre, possibly an emergency stop, and you'll get some questions at the start. So go through everything that I got. So when I got there, I got out of the car, my driving instructor gave me the keys. He was like, now it's your turn with these keys. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I was so nervous. And my test centre, before you even start your test, you have to do a bay park, which is like when you reverse into a parking space, like if you're at a big car park. You know, you should know what I mean, but when I first heard the term bay park, I had no idea what that meant. So that's why I'm explaining it. Yeah, so you have to do one before you even start your test, because that's just the parking spaces at the test centre, so I was really nervous and I completely screwed that one up, but I wasn't getting tested on that, so that was okay. So yeah, I got out, and my driving instructor was like, oh, do you need the toilet? And I 100% recommend going to the toilet. Jade, my friend, recommended me to go to the toilet because she didn't, and she needed a wee the whole way through your test. So if you're kind of the sort of person that gets really nervous, like quite easily, just go to the toilet. Just everyone go to the toilet, because like you might as well. The worst thing that could happen if you didn't is you're going to sit there and you're going to need a wee for the entire test. And I'm the sort of person that, like, when I need a wee, I need to go pretty much then. So I went to the toilet. I was going way too much into this. Came out and I sat for like a minute, and then the test, because there was another 2 people, 1, 2, I think there was another 2 people there, oh no, there was only one. There was another girl who was waiting to have her test, and so I was sat with my driving instructor over here, she was sat with hers like over there, and one test man came out, and he like had his little form, and he was like, he looked really nice, and like, I don't know, he just seemed really nice and jokey. He called the other girl's name, so I was like, oh my god, no, I'm gonna get an evil driving test man, or woman. Yeah, so anyway, what is the word? Driving test examiner? The person who tests me, he came out, and he was a brand new person, because God, I can't talk. My driving instructor had been like telling me all about all the different test people. There is a word. all the different test people who worked there, and he was like, oh, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so. He was like, there's about 4 or so. And he told me all their names, and when this guy came out and said, hi, well, his name's Simon actually, he said, I'm Simon. I was like, I don't know that name, he's completely new. And so I was like, oh my god, what if he's horrible? Like, he was quite young as well, and so I just didn't know what to expect. I was completely like thrown. And he put down this like form, so you have to basically read this form and like sign. There's like a declaration. I think it says something along the lines of I'm completely in control of the car or something like that. I'm not really sure. I read it, but I was so nervous I had no idea pretty much what it was saying. So you sign that, and that is basically the, actually I would have it somewhere. I've got it with my driving documents. I'm just gonna find that. Yeah, so this is the actual document. I can't show you the front of it because it's got all my personal details on it. But if I kind of fold over the top and the bottom, this is the kind of sheet that they have, and it's where they mark your minors and stuff on it. And so at the top, there's just like this little I declare bit. I can't show you it at all. And it just says, yeah, that you're insured and that you've lived in the UK for at least 180 days in the last 12 months. So nothing about the fact that you're in complete control of the vehicle. So you just sign that, and then they kind of give you a little chat. They ask for your little provisional card, so you give it to them, and then mine give it back. I don't know if they always give it back, but mine did, and so I had it in my pocket. Also, one thing I did is I took a bottle of water with me, because I did pretty much all my lessons because I get really thirsty when I'm nervous, and then I always end up licking my lips as well when I'm driving, so I had a lip balm in my pocket, so I put some lip balm on. And then we went and walked out. I said goodbye to my driving instructor. We went outside, and what did he say? He made me stand like on this line, and he was like, oh, can you read those number plates? Because you have to be able to read a number plate within 20 meters or 20 meters away or something. But that was fine, I could read those. And we went and over to the car, and he said, okay, we're going to get into the car first before we do your show me tell me questions. And I was like, yes, hallelujah. That pretty much means I don't have to open the bonnet, because that was something I was really scared about, because I'm not the strongest of people. So I was like, I'm going to be able to open it fine, and then trying to close it, I'm literally going to have to slam it because I couldn't push down enough to keep it closed. So yeah, so I got in the car, and he said, what was it? It was, yeah, basically my show, I had 2 questions. So you get a show me question and a tell me question. They're quite, your driving test examiner, what's the word, instructor should give you a list of the questions before. If not, they're all on Google and stuff. There's like 40, no, there's 19 I think. But basically my show me question was show me how you would clean the windscreen. So that was just quickly do the windscreen wipers and put a little bit of the screen washer on, which was super easy. And then my tell me question was how you would know if your tyre tread depth is correct and that they're not too worn out and stuff. So, but yeah, I got them both right, which I was really, really happy about. And you just got to be careful with those, because if you don't show them on a show me question, or you don't tell them on a you show them on a tell me question, you'll get minus. So it's one thing to look out for, but I didn't, so I was pretty pleased about that. And then did I put the engine on? No, it's before I put the engine on. He said, yeah, can you just pull, they're really, really like, he actually asked me, do you prefer being called Natasha or Tash, or like, he said like, what do you prefer being called? They do lots of like little icebreaker things. They kind of like chat to you, try and gauge. Like, I'm kind of like talking when I'm driving, but not a lot, because I find that sometimes if I start talking a lot, or when I was learning anyway, I get a bit too distracted, and so it was best that I talked a little bit, but not excessively. I think he kind of guessed that. And so my manoeuvre, you can get one of 3 manoeuvres. You get a reverse around the corner, a bay park, or a parallel park. Mine was a bay park, so he said, can you just pull forward and then reverse park into this space, or something like that. I can't remember the exact terminology, but you kind of know what they mean. Did I say that right, reverse park? Oh no, you can also do a turn in the road, which is like a 3-point turn, but you don't have to do it in 3 points, that kind of thing. So yeah, I pulled out, and then I was like, yep, do my bay park, I'm reversing, oh yeah, check my spots. There was also some people across doing their CBT watching me, which was terrifying, because they were like just stood there watching me doing my park, and I was like, yep, reverse, reverse, checking in my mirrors, checking in my mirrors. Now if you like learn to drive, you'll know that you're supposed to, when you're doing your bay park, look in your mirrors for when you can see the lines. And I saw the lines and I was like, yep, great, doing this perfectly. Yeah, then I realised they weren't the lines of the bay I was going into, they were the ones next to it, so I kind of screwed up. So I kind of went like this. And then, because I'd kind of gone in like a little bit of a sneak to get in it, I was like, right, I'm going to have to pull forward because I'm not doing this very well. So I put my handbrake on and went to put my handbrake off, couldn't get it off because I was too... Yeah, so I went to try and take my handbrake off, realised I could not get it off. I put it on too sharp because the bays in the test centre are like on a slope, and my driving instructor, this has happened a couple of times during my lessons, and he was like, right, worst comes to worst, if you cannot get it off, you're just gonna have to put your foot on the foot brake and use both hands and take your hands off the steering wheel. And I was like, well, I'm either gonna sit here for the rest of my test or I'm gonna have to do that. So I was like, well, let's just go for it. So I put my hand on the, you know, I did it. I got the handbrake off, and as I pushed the button in and I could actually move it, I put my hand straight on the steering wheel again, so I was in control of the car. Got my biting point, pulled away, and then followed the rest of his instructions. There's also a segment in the UK driving test called the independent driving, and that's when they tell you to kind of, you can either be told to follow signs for something, or they'll say take the next left, then left after that, then right or something. And they'll draw you a little diagram and stuff, and if you don't get it you can just ask them and they'll tell you again. But it's kind of to test that you can remember all the different parts, like you remember to indicate and check your mirrors and stuff without being told turn left up here and then you go mirror, signal, manoeuvre, that sort of thing. It's just to test that you can actually do your own driving. And so that was fine. I can't remember my independent driving. I think I had like 2 different points where he did me a diagram. Also, one thing in your driving test in the UK is that they pull you over lots. Like pretty much every 5 minutes they ask you to pull over. Sometimes they'll be telling you something, sometimes it would just be to test that when you pull away you check your blind spots and you indicate and do everything correctly. Did I get a hill start? Don't think I got a... Oh no, I did get a hill start. Did I? No. Did I get a hill start? I actually don't know. I can't remember if I got a hill start or not. I don't think I did. But yeah, my independent driving went okay. I did actually go down one road I'd never been down before, and it was really weird because I pulled into it and it was outside of school and I just had no idea where I was. I'd never been down this road before, and it was really odd. It looked like a 3-lane road, but it was just like a random little road by a school. And there were these massive speed humps in it, but they were the ones that are like split. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't, then don't worry about it, it's not that important. And basically there was a lay-by, but it didn't look like a lay-by because it was so long. It was like parking parents to pick up the kids. And so I was driving down the middle, it looks like the middle of the road, which I was obviously thinking, okay, that's a lay-by, so I'm on the left, so I'm in the right place. But then I suddenly started to question myself because this lay-by was so long. I was like, am I on the right side of the road? Because the lay-by had like a little white like dash line separating it from the road, so it looked like it was the left-hand lane and I was driving on the right-hand lane. And I was like, oh my god, and I actually said out loud, I was like, am I in the right lane? And then obviously he couldn't tell me, so I was just like, yeah, I am, just pretend I am, keep going. And I was like, oh my god. I mean, I've just failed my test on driving on the wrong side of the road, but then I realised that if I was on the wrong side of the road, I think that would have been a dangerous driving error, which means that they can like completely cut your test. So I figured it must have been fine. Anything else on here? Nope. Yeah, so what else happened? I kept going and it was alright, to be honest. It wasn't like too bad. My examiner by that point said to me, he was like, you seem a lot less nervous now, and I was like, yes, I am a lot less nervous now. I was like petrified to start off with. And we just kept going. We did a couple of dual carriageways. No, we didn't. We did no dual carriageways. That's not what I meant to say. We did no dual carriageways. We did one like single carriageway national speed limit road, and I was like, came off the roundabout and I was like, yes, I'm going really fast, and then I met the traffic, so then I ended up going about 30, which was not as fun. But that's kind of the thing when they like to test you for like checking your mirrors and stuff. So I was checking for cyclists, motorbikes, so I was like, yes. He did actually say that I was really lucky because there's a couple of like really horrible roundabouts and junctions in the town I did my test, and every time I got up to one of them they were just clear. There was no one on them. It was lunchtime, like there were people everywhere in the actual town centre, but once I'd come out of the town a little bit to do these big roundabouts, there was no one there. He was like, you're really lucky. And there was this one particular junction which the day before when I had a driving lesson, or on the Monday before or something, it's off the busy road, what's it called? Single carriageway road, but it's like a, no, is it dual carriage? Do you know, I get really confused with all these driving names. It's a really fast road. It's a national speed limit road, and there's like a right turning lane, and so if I'm on the left hand side and I want to turn to go across, you have to get in this little lane and wait for it to be free. And I waited on the lesson before so long. People were beeping at me, people were overtaking me in this lane. I was terrified. It was not a good experience. So when I had this on my test, because I knew where I was going, so it was in my independent driving, and he said, you know, follow signs for, and I knew how to get to this place because it was just, you know, I knew how to get to it. And so I was just thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna have to do this horrible junction. I was just so scared. And I got to it and there were no cars and I was like, yes, 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 don't have to wait, don't have to give way, I can just go straight across it. I was so happy and it was all fine. And then after that we pretty much went back to the test centre. It seemed like it was really quick when I was doing it. I think I got back at 17 minutes past 1. I know that because I looked at the clock. But obviously your test doesn't really start at 12:38, it would start a couple minutes after because you have to do the paperwork and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty much on average for time. I don't know if I said at the start the on average time is 38 minutes. So I got back and I didn't actually have my driving instructor in the car. Some people do. I would have found that really distracting because when you're trying to reverse, if you look back and see your driving instructor sat there, I think I would have just found that really weird. So yeah, we pulled in and I parked up again. This time you didn't have to do a bay park because the spaces you could like drive straight into them, they didn't care. And so I pulled in, and actually the girl who was doing her test at the same time pulled in pretty much straight away. We seemed to keep seeing each other, like I felt like I was following her around the town. But yeah, I pulled in and he was like, well, congratulations, I'm pleased to say you passed. And I was like, what? I passed? And I was like, well, okay, I guess I didn't do anything too bad. And then he was like, oh, and you only got 1 minor, so well done. I was like, what? 1 minor? I guess I was going around. I was like, that's definitely a minor, that's definitely a minor. Turns out the only minor I got was for my bay part because I had to go forward a bit and just straighten it up a little bit after I did my little snaky thing. So overall it was pretty good, you know. I was really proud of myself. Yeah, so that's kind of my driving test experience. Overall I had 41.5 lessons and then my driving test, which is a lot, but it's still below national average. Everyone's different. I passed first time, but I wasn't like too obsessed with passing first time. I think a lot of people are really obsessed with the whole, oh yes, I passed first time, you know, you failed, blah, but doesn't really matter, no. If you really want to drive that badly, I guess you'll pass eventually. You've got your whole life to do it. It's not like your GCSEs or your A-levels. You know, you can keep doing it. If you fail, you go again. In terms of cost, the test itself is £62, and then if you want to use your driving instructor's car like I did, you have to rent it as well. So I think my total test day would have been 3 hours of driving lessons and then the £62, so £69 add £62 is £131, is that right? Might not be. Yeah, no, that's right, £131. So yeah, that was the cost of me passing my test. I did also forget that once I had like actually gotten back and he told me I'd passed, he was like, oh yes, can I have your provisional again? I was like, yeah, sure, have it. I forgot that they don't give it back to you, that they actually take it, which I thought was really sad because I like growing an attachment to my provisional. But anyway, it's in the provisional license graveyard now, so that is that. If you guys have any questions or anything about me learning to drive, please leave them down below. I have a lot to talk about. I'm going to do another video on it at some point, so if you leave any questions you have down below. Yeah, I hope this has helped anybody. The actual driving test itself, I just don't know how to describe it really, other than just, you've got to keep telling yourself if you make a mistake, that was only a minor, that was only a minor, because you can get up to 15 minors, I think. So even if you think that was definitely a major, just tell yourself it was a minor and not worry about it, because you have to continue the test unless you get a dangerous driving fault, which is just then like you're not allowed to drive anymore. So yeah, don't worry about it, it's only a driving test. I don't feel like I was the sort of person who was meant to drive. I'm definitely not the best driver. I know it technically, but when I'm driving sometimes I'm not like, I don't know, I don't worry about things too much. Like I'm not like oh, I must drive really fast, I must get there the fastest I can. I go at the speed I want to. I mean, obviously there's a massive queue like behind me, I'll pull over and let them all go past me. I'm not like I don't know. It took me a while to learn to drive, so yes. yeah, any more questions about any of it, please leave me some comments and questions down below, because I really want to do some more videos on this, because there aren't a lot out there. When I searched for them, there was not a lot, and I've now been ranting for about 20 minutes, so that's that. I will see you guys next time, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Bye!